White shirts on the pitch, running fast through the night. Every heart beating loud under floodlit sky bright. So to London, stand strong. In the stands they belong. Voices echo like thunder. To the club they sing along. Up in Spurs we arise. Eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. King's fire in his eyes. Glory's what he seeks. With every goal he flies, rising to new peaks. From the lane to far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. From the lane to far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. With all our might. With all our might.
Hi and good evening and welcome to Thfc Tonight, your home of Tottenham past, present and exciting future under Ange Postecoglou, and welcome to the best podcast around it, Ireland's #1 Tottenham podcast. It is, of course, the Cockeral Clock podcast, where we just talk about anything and everything to do with football. It doesn't have to be Tottenham related. We go off on different tangents and everything. Just very quickly, thank you so much for last night. Hitting the like button and the comments I got from last night's show. Really do appreciate it. It got more views than I thought it would, and I enjoyed doing it. So thank you so much indeed. I really do appreciate it. We all do. And we hope you enjoy it. But still put your comments on it. Still let me know if you think Levy is the worst chairman ever. And I'm going to ask Stig Jr. what he thinks on it. But how are you anyway? Some say, as I said last night, he was there the day Tottenham were founded. And some say he was the chef that gave Tottenham that paid the chef for the lasagna gate.
Are you good with your words there?
All we know, he's called Stig Jr. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I've got some news what all Spurs fans will be happy to hear. It's in relation to a certain Scouse right back at Liverpool. Seems they're now starting to beginning to accept that he will not renew his contract. So our right back won't be going back to Spain.
Ooh, who's that?
Trent. Because Real Madrid are after Trent, aren't they? And Porro was the second option for him, wasn't he?
So Trent's off to Real Madrid past us.
From what it seems like, because Liverpool are beginning to accept, this was on the 16th, that they're beginning to accept that he will not renew his contract. So there's a chance that he'll end up going to Madrid and we won't have to win. And Porro won't be going away, so we won't have to worry about getting another right back in.
Yeah, there's something we've learned about Stig Jr. tonight. He's in the footballing circles. That's something we've learned tonight. That's good. That's good. By the way, can you drive a car?
Are we talking about in general, legally, not legally? How are we speaking here?
We know you are illegal in 17 states in America, so you can't drive there.
I can drive, but the question of legality then comes into question if I'm doing it legally without.
We've learned that. We also learned that you're a rebel, so that's what we like about you. We're learning little things about you.
Exactly.
Things. look,
and as well, one more thing as well. We to all of our members as well. You will also be getting a player threat analysis later on tomorrow as well, because I've
tonight that'll
almost
be
finished
going
up.
out.
Okay, then tonight, yes, but so you'll be getting a player threat analysis tonight as well when that'll be going out.
Yeah.
So you'll be getting that as well, something to enjoy as well while you're drinking your tea and stuff like that.
Drinking tea? You mean drinking beer and alcohol? Tea. So old-fashioned. Tea. Jesus. We don't drink tea in Ireland. Ireland, there's no such thing as tea and coffee in Ireland. It's just alcohol.
No, it's just Guinness, isn't it?
Yeah, just Guinness and whiskey. That's it. Also, tomorrow, Tottenham Team Talk Guy is a member, guys. Is a members only show as well. We're going to try it out tomorrow just for you members. So you become a members. You get tomorrow's show. So do pick up your memberships. If you do, you get to watch Tottenham Team Talks live. And what we'll do is we'll put it out, later for the non-members as well. But let's get on. Let's see who's in the chat, because we've got a bit to get through tonight, guys. So let's go into it. Of course, if you can, guys, do us a big favor. Hit that link. It's in the description. It is our channel sponsor. They are sponsoring the Cockeral Clock. Didn't need any help messing that one up. Clock podcast. It is private internet access, the best VPN around. Get 2 years for €43 plus VAT, and you get 4 months free at the end of it. And I know times are hard, but this is the cheapest VPN you're going to get around, guys. It's the best VPN. You can watch all your sports. I could be like, Stig Jr. could be living in, I don't know, America, and I could be watching the same thing he's watching, and we can be like next door neighbors, say whatever. So wherever you are in the world, if you're on holiday, bring the VPN with you. It is brilliant. It absolutely is the best in the world for €43. Also, pick up your memberships as well, guys, like for your members only shows, like for tomorrow. And if you can, send in a super chat. You have the choice to dictate where this podcast goes. It's down to you guys. And also, super chats. We know times are hard out there. We know inflation is going up. We know Christmas is coming up. Everyone's trying to save their little bit of pennies, but every little helps. There is memberships there from 99p or 99.
Well, you can always get somebody a membership or the VPN as a Christmas present, couldn't you?
Yeah,
you could always do that as a cheap and easy Christmas present for them.
Yeah, there you go. See, Stig Jr. See, you're a genius. You're absolute genius.
It saves them from if you're in the UK. It saves you from having to deal with the 3 p.m. blackouts.
It does. You've been taught very well by Stig Senior. I have to say, he's brought you up well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And if you are watching, Stig Senior, if you are watching, hope you're feeling well, sir. Yeah. And we look forward to your return.
Yeah, I think we
Milton,
all do.
Yeah, we do miss him. We do miss him. Hope you're well, Dermo and Boris. Big up. I don't know who this Boris guy is, Milton, but all we know he's called the Stig Junior. That's what he's known as.
Thank you to Hamilton.
Yeah, he'll let Boris know. He's going to let him out the cupboard later.
Thank God for
that. We must be. I forget where the cupboard thing comes from. It must have been from tequila. It has to be something in my head telling me he had something to do with that in the cupboard. We must beat West Ham. Yeah, we are going to talk about West Ham. I think West Ham should be put into the Conference League, basically. I think they have no right being in the Premier League. And we've got Neil
in the
Shafton.
Conference League.
Yeah, in the Conference League. Non-league.
Why? So non-league football. Why?
Non-league football. Just because I feel that's where they should be. Them and Arsenal.
Arsenal will be more understandable, yes.
Yeah, just stick them both in there. Man City, throw Man City in there just for the sheer hell of it. Big up to Neil as well. I think Neil lives in LA, but I hope you. If you are Neil, let me know if you've heard from Wilton McDonald. Let me know if he's safe, because I know he's in Florida, where the hurricane was. So just let us know if he's all right. Wilton, if you are watching, sir, let us know if you're okay. He's in the know. I can drive cars, motorbikes, and scooters. Wow. There you go. Right. We're going to start with this, guys. Right. There was a bit of a row in THFC Towers today, well, during the week, about managers, and we had a bit of an argument broke out because I wanted to do managers from the back in the old days. Colin was going to do managers in his time, and Stig Jr. wanted to do managers in his sort of era. And a massive row broke out. It was just Ben, and there was tea bags being thrown, coffee cups being thrown.
Yeah, Demo started swinging at people.
Yeah, it was just mayhem. So we decided Stig Senior came in, stopped it, and said you go with Stig Junior. So this is what we've done. A lot of us have come together and we've picked these 5 as the top 5 football managers of all time. Now, can I just say from the outset, I don't agree with one of them. I think somebody should be in there, and there's 2 people should be in there, not. But it's down to you guys who you think the best out of this top 5 is. So here he is. There is Stig Jr. dressed up in his finery. He's got a couple of tattoos there. Very pleased to see he's got the Irish tattooed on his arm. Fair play to him. He's even got a tattoo of his favourite player, James Maddison.
Oh, the lovely darts player we have on our team.
Yeah, see, he's got that, and he's then because he is Stig Jr., he's sponsored by us. Now, this is what we've sort of come up with. Pep number 1, Jurgen Klopp number 2, Jose Mourinho number 3, Conte number 4, and the most controversial manager I think ever in English history, Tuchel number 5. Let's start with number 5. Let's start with Thomas Tuchel. Got appointed this week as New England manager.
Yep,
the first time a German has ever got the job.
Well, it's like the 3rd or 4th time a foreign manager that have been appointed to the English jobs.
He's the first German manager to get the job. I've been listening to Talk Sport, and if you would listen to some people in Talk Sport, you think the world had just ended. As an England fan, right, what's your thoughts on Tuchel taking over? Because I can't see a problem with it. We had Jack Charlton, who was a England World Cup winning player, take over our team back in the 80s and brought us much success in the 80s and 90s. Okay, we didn't win anything, but we qualified for 2 World Cups and the European Championships. Beat England in Stuttgart 1-0, might I remind you, with Ray Houghton's wonderful header. And then drew 1-0 with you.
Didn't our 2 Irish boys just beat you a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, the traitors. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that.
If you want to go to that, I figured.
I'm not talking about that. Don't.
Well, you have to remember, you have to come to Wembley next international break, don't you?
Yeah, great. We'll be covering that game. You and me will be covering that game. That'd be great.
Okay,
we're going to whip your ass. You'll have a German in charge.
Okay, then don't. Oh, that's until it'll be Lee. It'll still be Carsley then.
Yeah,
Tuchel starts in January.
He's doing his job.
And he still won us the game against Ireland. So Agent Carsley must be doing a terrible job if he's winning the games for us.
Yeah, well, he didn't get the job full time, did he?
No, but the thing is, he didn't even want it full time, though, really. That's the thing. He's always said that.
Yeah. Look, let's forget about Ireland, being England's, dominated England for 33 years. You couldn't beat us. And just because you wait till we've got a crap manager and a crap group of players that you're thinking you all up there, we beat Ireland, yeah. You hadn't beaten us in 33 years. So let's just skip all of that. What's your thoughts on Tuchel taking over the England job? Do you agree, with England fans that say, I'm never going to watch England again, I'm throwing the shirt in the bin? Or do you sort of agree with the other English fans, look, he was the best man for the job, we went and got him, but it's the FA who've let us down because they haven't produced enough good English managers? Where are you on this?
Yeah, I kind of understand both sides in reality. If I think about it, because you also have to remember that, and the FA is to blame for that because let's be honest, the best British manager to ever exist in the entirety of the UK wasn't even English; he was Scottish, in that being Alex Ferguson.
So how come he didn't get in your top 5 then?
Because It seems you forgot this was for the time I was watching football, generation-wise, and you're trying to throw me under the bus because of that now. Let's be honest, if Combs
See,
was here, Ferguson would be on top of the list.
see,
In his
see,
list.
see. This is the row that broke out in the THFC Till I Die office the other day. This is
The reason it broke out was because he was trying to throw me under the bus, chat. He's trying to throw me under the bus for this list. This list is from when I've been watching football.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And my list was like 2010 onwards, once Ferguson's reign of the Premier League was coming to an end.
Yeah, so look, if you're saying you agree with both sides, if I could nail you down to one side or the other with Tuchel as England manager, which side would you fall on?
I'd more than likely fall on the latter side, the side of which it's the FA has failed England in its entirety by not producing good enough managers. I'd say the only good enough manager really would be the greatest manager since probably Charlton, who took charge of you. I'll probably say, let's be honest, it's probably Howe. That just shows how little of management our guys get, because then we look at, and then we go to like Spain or something. There's Xavi Alonso, Xavi, Luis Enrique. We go to Germany. There's Tuchel, Klopp. Seems everybody's mad with Klopp recently, ain't they? Because he's taken over the head director of football for the RB.
They're my German side, so I'm absolutely over the moon with that.
The oil, the money side, the energy drink money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I'm absolutely over the moon with that.
Yeah, thing is though, it's like I also do agree with the fact it's like, look at the Argentina manager. He's not Argentinian. He's Italian.
Yeah. You look at Pochettino. He's in charge of USA. You look at us. We got an Iceland manager.
I'm not going to lie. I feel if the USA put as much funding into our version of football, what they call soccer, if they put as much money as they did from American football into regular football, true football, I feel like they would be one of the top 5 in the world. Like, with infrastructure and all that. I feel like the MLS would be a hell of a lot bigger league. It probably contending with the top 10 leagues in the world. I'll probably say even top 5 if it put as much money in, like before it all came around. Really, I feel like that'll be a conversation for a different stream, though.
Yeah, it will. But look, let's go back to Tuchel and taking the England job. Everywhere he's gone, he hasn't really been that successful. And you look at what's happening with Man City, and everyone put the money on Pep getting the job, or probably going after Jurgen Klopp. Do you feel the FA should have gone after somebody like a Mourinho, who is more expensive, who's more experienced in football than Tuchel is? Do you know what I'm getting at?
I know what you're getting at. I just don't believe international management and club management level of competition matches. Like, look at the Argentina manager. He's won the Copa America with them a couple of times, and he's won the World Cup with them. Let's be honest, if he was probably in the top 5 league and stuff like that, he might not be winning all this stuff. International management and club level management, and let's be honest, Klopp retired from management of football. I doubt he'd ever come, and let's be honest, from what we've heard and what I've heard and seen, if City do end up getting charged with 115 charges, Pep might even sign a new contract just out of spite.
Yeah, maybe
out of spite to the Premier League.
So what is Tuchel's biggest strength? His biggest strength for me is competition football. It's knockout football. That's his biggest
exactly.
strength,
which shows why he's why making him such a great international manager.
So, do you think he has the tools to take England over the line? Do you feel Gareth Southgate took you as far as you could go, or do you feel? Or just a 2-part question. The first part is: do you feel Southgate took you as far as you go, or this is my view that maybe the FA should have changed this before the last probably European Championships and had somebody like Tuchel in there, because I feel if they had any other manager by Southgate, I think England would have been back-to-back European champions. That's my opinion. You had a good enough squad to win both competitions, because I think Italy was there for the taking when you lost it at Wembley, and I feel Spain, as good Spain were in the Euros just gone, I feel England, after you scored that equaliser, you should have gone on and won it. And I feel it was the inexperience or the lack of tactical nous for Gareth Southgate. And if you had somebody like a Tuchel, I think he would have taken you over the line in both finals, my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. To answer the first part of the question, he didn't take us as far as this England squad could go. I think this England squad could be the best squad in the world if we had the right manager. And to add on to the second, and to answer your second part of the question, I know it's a bit arrogant of me to say we probably do have the best squad in the world, because let's be honest, Spain's starting to rebuild their national team. So I'd probably say we're in the contention for like the top 3 international squads in the world, that just behind Spain and Argentina, I'd probably say. But I feel if we do get Tuchel, which we have done, I feel like Tuchel can take us that step further and get us across the line. So, and to answer the second part of the question, I feel like to give Southgate, because he's done such a good job with the team. He's literally done such a good job with it and stuff like that. He's managed to end up actually. He's improved the squad in its own right, because let's be honest, if we go back to like the 2010s and 2000s and late 90s, let's be honest, the England squad was a one individual team. It wasn't even it wasn't even a team really. It was just a bunch of individuals what had rivalries in the heads, what was caused by the likes of Alex Ferguson, Jose Mourinho, Rafael Benitez.
Yeah,
those main managers. Because let's be honest, most of the players in the 2000s golden era of Premier League football, of the England squad, it was dominated by 3 teams: Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man United.
Yeah. You probably could put Arsenal in there as well, somewhere along the lines.
Early on, yes, but once Cole moved to Chelsea took over that section. It used to be, I would have said it was Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man United at start, but once Cole went off to Chelsea for the 5 million plus whoever it was, I think it was Gallas.
Yeah, it was Gallas went the other way. Yeah,
Gallas. Yeah, once he went over there, I'd probably say at the end of the day, it kind of kicked them out of that, because they were more of the French international side.
So look, the one thing that worries me, right? Looking at it from a fan. Look, I'm an Irish fan. Looking at it from the outside in, right? And we've had Irishmen, we've had an Englishman, we've had Italians took charge of our national side. We now got a manager from Iceland.
Yep.
But I think what can't escape the thing, he's German. And the biggest rivalry between England and Germany, you go back to 66, you go back to 72 when they knocked you out of the European Championship.
Don't even go from there. It started from 1914 onwards, really.
Well, we'll leave that to one side.
Well, that's when all the rivalries started off, though, really. Yeah. Let's be honest, because there was a lot of anti-country sentiment once that happened, and then it just became more of a rivalry and hatred.
But if we're just keeping it to the football.
Yeah, and I'm still on about the football after.
And then you go to 1990, you lose on penalties. There's a lot can be said about Germans' efficiency and the way they play the football. They're very defensive-minded, a bit like the Italians, but they have a know-how how to get over the line.
Yep.
How long would the England fans, including you, how long are you going to give Tuchel? Will there be a honeymoon period? Or would the fans be on his case straight away? And if he doesn't get off to a good start, with this German tag sort of come back and bite them in the arse sort of thing? Do you know what I mean? Will the fans turn on them? Because we know,
they'll turn on him a lot quicker than they would on Southgate.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I'll say that, and so we can just end this off, because we talked about this a lot last time, didn't we? When we were both on the show about him becoming manager. But yeah, I'd say this just to end it off and stuff like that in regards to it. I feel I'll give him time until after the World Cup.
Yeah.
I'll give it, like, if he performs well in the World Cup, I'll give him more time and stuff like that. But if he performs poorly in the World Cup, he should get the scrutiny what comes with it, because he's now one of the top. He's managing one of the top 5 international teams in the world. So of course, any scrutiny will happen with that. So
well, you got to qualify for it, but if you do,
let's be honest. Last time we didn't qualify for it, I think. Well, I can't even remember the last time. It was like 90s or something.
You didn't qualify 94, and Graham Taylor was the manager. Last time you didn't qualify.
But it's Graham Taylor. Let's be honest. He wasn't the best. He was an average footballer, Graham
Taylor wasn't a bad manager. Last question on this: if you qualify, can he win the 2026 World Cup?
Yeah.
Then we leave it there. That is a quite confident answer. You can. What makes you certain that is it because he's good at tournament football, or is it because you think them players that are now like of Cole Palmer, Jude Bellingham, a lot of the youngsters, some of the youngsters now be a bit older. Do you feel that squad would have matured enough? And having Tuchel as a manager for good at tournament football, who do you fear at the World Cup? Who do you fear? Do you think, is there any other European sides or South American sides that worry you?
Of course, France, maybe Italy.
Mm-hmm.
If they manage to get like whatever has happened to them sorted out, because they're still quite shocking.
Yeah.
If Italy get, as a perfect example, Nielsen in chat, Spain. I'd probably say they're the biggest threat in Europe to us, because Mbappe will be a lot older. I think he'll probably be like 27, 28.
Yeah.
Something like that. So he'll be getting on in age.
He never scored? He's only scored 1 goal in the European Championship finals.
Yeah, he mainly saves them for the World Cup, let's be honest. And he's also started to be a lot more arrogant as well, saying he won't play in basic matches for the French national team. He'll only play the big matches.
Do you know, if that was me, I'd tell him to go off and play with these teddy bears. I wouldn't pick him.
I'd probably say the biggest threat in South America, though, not Argentina. No, Brazil.
Really?
Yeah, Endrick, Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr., Estevar, Victor Roque.
Yeah, I know, but
Alisson will still be young enough.
Do you really think Brazil could win the next World Cup?
Honestly, if the Brazilian president doesn't go as extreme as he seems to be wanting to go, because like we also think like because did you hear recently that the Brazilian actual president of Brazil was saying like he didn't want any Brazilian nationals playing outside of Brazil, and he only wanted them inside of Brazil. So
I did. I do you know what? I think Argentina are a dark horse. Yeah, I've watched a bit of Argentina, and Romero played very well the other night. Lionel Messi still, and I don't know how he's still doing it.
I think he'll probably retire before the next World Cup. I'm not going to lie.
No, I guarantee you, right? I'll put a $5 on with you. He'll be at the next World Cup.
Fine by me.
I tell you, he'll be at the next World Cup.
I don't see it happening.
Well, do you know, it's only, the end of next season? Or the following season?
Yeah, it's 2 years from now, because we just finished off the Euros, haven't we?
Yeah,
and
so
the
we've
Copa
got
America.
So in December, it's the draw for the World Cup, which is going to be really hilarious. I think we're going to get England again in our group. I really do. Let's go before we get on to Conte and bore our pants with him because he was a boring manager. Stephen Cartwright, big up. He says, evening, lads and chat. Hope everyone is okay. We are grand. Neil is saying Scalanian is Diagi, his last name. That's right. It's the Italian bloke. That's right. Yeah. And also Stig Jr. said that as well. I thought he was Argentinian, but I didn't know he was Italian. But there you go. Lots of immigrants went to South America, so Italy surname, but he's Argentinian. Don't forget about Sven as well, Sven Goran Eriksson.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. A lot of immigrants came around like the 40s, didn't they? Like 40s and 30s, 40s, stuff like that from
there's
Western
a town
Europe.
in Argentina. Yeah, Germans, Italians, Spanish people went to South America in the 40s and 50s. And that we've got Neil Shafton says Spain. I have no idea what that comment's about.
No clue.
Not a clue. So we'll leave that as it is. And Uruguay and Colombia are coming up. DR. Little known fact for Uruguay, right? 2030, they could. Do you know in 2030 World Cup there's going to be 6 host nations in that World Cup?
Yep. Across, what is it, like 4 continents or something again?
And they talk about player welfare. Give me that is another podcast. That's just a whole podcast in itself.
Yeah.
Now, Antonio Conte, not very successful with us. He bored us so much we fell asleep.
Yeah.
Him and Jose. But the dudes seem to win everywhere. 2 different types of managers. Conte, I think Jose is not as bad as Conte when it comes to building teams up. So out of the 2 of them, Conte, I don't think he's a great manager. I don't think he's the greatest manager of all time. But why?
As I said, this is from my time watching.
Yeah. So if he's the greatest manager from your time, if you could, why is he the greatest manager in your time? Because for me, I don't think Conte's all that. I think Conte is a manager that comes in, he wants loads of money, he buys the players he wants, and he wins you a trophy, and then he buggers off.
Well, the fact is, he literally in his second season when he came to Chelsea, look what he won with them, and he managed to get all of their arrogant. Like, yes, he got a lot of money, but you also have to remember with money, a lot of egos and arrogance comes with it as well, and he managed to get all of that under control and then ended up winning them a trophy. Winning them the Champions League and Premier League, didn't they? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So,
it just shows how good of.
Yeah, it shows how good he was, but why did that not work at Tottenham?
Because, let's be honest, it didn't work with Jose, did it either? Those type of managers don't work for us. Like, let's be honest, they never have, because we never had those type of managers who are instant win now. Because, as we've always said, we don't splash the money like Abramovich did and stuff like that. We don't splash that excess of money and stuff like that. What gives them the right to buy whatever players they want? Like, let's be honest. Yes, Andrew's had like 400 odd million to spend, and sometimes he hasn't been the best to spend, but he hasn't been the worst either. But what I'm saying is, like, with Conte, he got 100 million to spend, 100 million plus all the money he won from his placement last when he finished 4th with us, didn't he? After we beat Arsenal out of it, and they ended up getting 5th.
So look, all I can say about Conte and Jose, because I want to do them both together, because they both managed Tottenham, so I think it's worth putting them both together. I think Jose Mourinho is a better manager than Antonio Conte. Personally, I think Jose Mourinho is a better man manager than Conte, and I think he's a better club manager than Conte. Conte, for me, is too temperamental. I think Conte also is too stubborn. He won't change. Where I think Mourinho has, over the years, has reinvented himself on many occasions, from what he was at Chelsea to where he was at Inter Milan, to where he was at Manchester United, to where he was at Spurs, where he is now in Turkey. I just feel Jose Mourinho is an all-round better manager and probably one of the best managers the world's ever seen. For me, Antonio Conte isn't that. I think Conte's too much of a temperamental crybaby. And I just feel Jose is a better, and I'm glad you put Jose ahead of him, because I think Jose at Tottenham got more out of the players than Conte did. In my own opinion. I don't know what you think on that comment, but for me, I think Jose Mourinho was unlucky. And I think he got sacked because of I think he got the sack because of the Super League. We'll never know. But he wanted to be there. Conte did us a favour. He didn't want to be there. So when the times got rough, Conte wanted out the door, where I think Jose was a bit unlucky. So do you agree with that? Or do you think, no, mate, you're barking up the wrong tree here. Conte was a better all-round manager than Jose.
I agree with you in that regard, because we've also got to remember, like, the fact is with it, like, of course, that's why I've put him ahead of him in regards to it. Shows that how good of a he was and stuff like that. And to also answer your question about you saying, like, Conte and Jose, to answer that, I'd say, of course, Jose is better than him and stuff like that, because we've seen what he won compared to Conte at Chelsea. Jose was Chelsea's best manager probably for a long time, since back in the 90s and stuff like that, when they had some decent managers then. But I'd probably say Jose's been probably their top manager over the last 20-30 years.
Yeah.
It's the amount he won, but you also have to remember the amount of money that Jose spent, because he was, like, if you remember, he was the manager of Real Madrid.
I actually did a bit of checking on that the other day. Do you know Todd Bowley has spent more money, right, than the previous owner of Chelsea did in over 5 seasons?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And his last 5 seasons, right, Bowley spent more money in one season than Abramovich has spent in these last 5.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. With what came out about Abramovich, I highly doubt that. I feel like he probably did some underneath dealings. Like, let's be honest, that was one of the main reasons why they ended up getting in trouble as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
As well, while Chelsea was getting sold. And to answer your question, Chris, this is when I've started watching Premier League football. It's not just Premier League era in total.
We were supposed to do one each, and Colin's been called into some emergency, so he couldn't come on tonight. I was so busy putting everything else together. We've just ran with this. So look, I'm going to stick a name in here, and it's probably gonna. You probably won't have seen much of him. You can put Alex Ferguson in as a Premier League manager in the top 5 as well. Probably, I think for me, I think Fergie gets in ahead of Conte completely.
Yeah.
I think you got the top 2 spot on. If I'm honest, I think if you were to do a top 5 of any world-class managers, I think they would be in your top 5, Klopp and Pep. Whatever time or era, they would be in your top 2. So what I'm going to do is, guys, right, so what I'm going to do, pick Jose, Conte and Tuchel for me, if you can, Stiggy. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to put a poll into the chat. If I remember how to do a poll. How do I do a poll? Oh, here we go. Do a poll. So, I'm going to do a poll. So, pick one for me. Jose, Conte, Tuchel.
I go Jota just due to what he won.
Okay, fine. So let me. Who was the greatest?
Damn, I just send you a message if you just see.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, all right. I'll see you back in a few minutes. As you can see, Stig Jr.'s got to go off and do some Stig stuff. He's got to go and recharge his batteries. That's what he's off to. You gone? Okay. We'll leave him there. All right. So I'm going to put a poll in. Who was the greatest manager? And then we're going to put Pep. And then we're going to put Klopp. I know who Chris is going to vote for. And we're going to do Jose. So there you go. That is a poll. Who is the greatest manager out of them three? We've got Pep, Klopp, and Jose. So let us know what you guys think. Look, for me, I would have looked if I was doing the list. I want to say big up to big up to Conte. He really was a Conte. Yeah, he was. Carl, you're so right there, sir. We've got Gerard as well. Big up. Good evening, Dermot. Big up, Gerard. How you doing? Well, look, if you are going to do managers of all time, I think you've got to go the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson. You've got to go for the likes of Brian Clough as well, back in the days, back in the 70s and early 80s. You would have to go for like Bill Shankly. You go back to the 60s, you had Bill Nick, Bill Shankly. 70s, Brian Clough. You had Don Revie at Leeds. Bobby Robson, of course, at Ipswich as well. Oh, God. So in the 80s, you had Birkinshaw, but you had Bob Paisley. You had Joe Fagan at Liverpool. Bob Paisley was really successful. You had Harry Kendall at Everton in the 80s. And then, of course, then in the 90s, you had Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, their little took Man United, Arsenal, tit for tat. Kenny Dalglish as well in the 80s for Liverpool as well. George Graham for Arsenal in the 90s. And we were so lucky to have these great managers come and manage in our league. And when you look at the Premier League as a whole, I think we've been very blessed. But I do feel the last couple of years, there hasn't been that great of managers. There's been nobody like a Fergie or a Brian Clough. You need that sort of different type of manager coming in, who has that little bit of, how can I put it? Little bit of swagger. Has a little bit of gumption. Like Brian Clough has very much said it how it is. And what I liked about Brian Clough was Brian Clough said it how it is, didn't care for the repercussions, and just come out with it. And that's why he was never England manager, because he was never going to be a yes man for the FA. And that's why he never became England manager. If you look at going forward to like Liverpool, the great Liverpool sides that had Bill Shankly, led on to Bob Paisley, led on to Joe Fagan. Then you had Kenny Dalglish. Graham Souness won an FA Cup. And they really didn't do anything until Jurgen Klopp came on the scene to really bring them back to the past glories. You look at Fergie, 26 years at Man United, and you look what he did before that at Aberdeen as well. He broke the monopoly of Scottish football with Aberdeen, won back-to-back league titles with them to break the monopoly of Celtic and Rangers. So in the Premier League in itself, we've been so lucky with the managers that have come. But you can't say there's been one good English manager, because not really one good apart from Harry Kendall, who won the league, the last First Division Championship before it went to the Premier League. No other England manager has really taken the Premier League by storm. They've all been foreign managers. Either they've been German, Spanish, French, or Scottish. So, and that sort of brings me back to the point, while Boris is away, that maybe is it down to the FA that you haven't promoted enough England managers through the system to say, right, you're going to be our next manager. And I think that's a failing of the FA, and I think that's a failing of British football as a whole, that they've relied on too many foreign players coming in, too many foreign managers coming in to the Premier League to make it exciting. I can't think. I don't know. I think there's only 2 English managers in the whole of the Premier League. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody in the chat can let me know. But most of them are our managers from Australia. There isn't really any proper English managers. And you look at Italian sides, Italian managers over the years were successful. Brazilian managers over the years were successful. Argentinian managers. There's always been a fast track of managers coming through. But it seems to now it doesn't matter if you're not English or German or Irish, that if you're good enough, you're good enough. So I do feel I do feel, Boris, that if you look at the managers from all over the years, not many English managers has been successful and in the league. Do you know what I mean?
You're rambling about managers now. English managers.
Yeah, I'm still. I had to ramble on about something.
Well, that's true. Oh yeah, I've also got a bit of information for you guys. Came out like a few hours ago and stuff like that. But it seems Jonathan David, like the little forward we were looking at.
Yeah.
He won't be renewing his contract. And it seems that a Premier League moves to be expected. And guess who reportedly told us to sign him? Our illegal dealer.
You leave our Del Boy alone.
Well, I feel if that ends up happening, Richie would be sold.
Yeah, you do realise Paratici does work out of a 3-wheel van.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Probably just with a massive Italian flag on the side.
Yeah, and he has a flat in Peckham. I think Daniel Levy could be Uncle Albert or Grandad. I'm not sure. Yeah, we could be Trigger. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I think I also know why. Spurs West Ham fans always hate us. Their best ever player in their history wanted to play for us.
Well, I tell you one thing. What links
that
Tottenham
being Bobby
West
Moore?
Ham? Yeah,
Bobby Moore with the Spurs fans wanted to play.
But what links Tottenham and West Ham? Jimmy Greaves went to West Ham at the end of his career at Spurs. Martin Peters, who was part of the '66 World Cup winning squad, went to Tottenham as part exchange. So that's one link between Tottenham and West Ham. We've got Chris. Good evening, gentlemen. Big up, Chris. We've got the poll up. I don't know who's winning the poll, actually. Let's check. Pep's winning 67%, and Klopp and Jose both on 17%.
Not too bad then, is it?
No. I said Conte was a marriage. Yeah, that was a marriage made in hell. I think it was worse than hell. Good evening, Dermo. We've done that one. Jose, we've got Chris. I was born in 1999, the year of the Man United treble. Started watching properly in 2004, so Wenger is in my top 5, along with Fergie, Klopp, and Pep and Jose. Yeah. Do you know?
I'm surprised he didn't end up supporting United, because that's what happened with a lot of old, United fans around the 30 years old. They were born on 1999 after United won the treble, so a lot of them ended up just supporting United because of that, didn't they?
Yeah, well, Chris, bless him, supports Liverpool. God love him. Jose's won every European trophy he has. Big up to Ryan as well. I think you're still up in Scotland, Ryan. Well, big up to the evening, Dermo. Hope you're well. I'm grand. What do you think the score will be tomorrow? I say 6-4. I'm going for a 4-0 win. Never going to let West Ham score. Should be in the Conference League. Should be non-league. You should be barred from the Premier League. Do you know? You go there, right? This is what gets me, Boris, right? You go to their stadium, and they're blowing bubbles. They're grown men. You do that when you're a child. And they've got a Barney the dinosaur just dances around the stadium. I mean, my eldest lad, right, grew out of Barney the dinosaur years ago. Do you know West Ham fans still play with that Barney the dinosaurs? And blowing bubbles. It's ridiculous. And Jose won with, he did. He won the Champions League with Porto, if I remember.
Yeah, but let's be honest, that Porto side was probably the best side in Europe at the time. You can't.
Which is the best European side you've seen in your lifetime?
Probably the Real Madrid side with Benzema, Ronaldo, and Bale as their starting front line. Either that or the MSN, Messi, Neymar, Suarez.
See, for me, I think that was a better front three. You know,
I'd say
they were more. I'd say they
were more selfless than selfish. That's probably why they seem like a better one, considering Messi ended up scoring, what was he, like 90, got 90 GA and stuff like that in that one season.
See, there's a show we are going to do. Who was better, Ronaldo or Messi? I've always said Messi's better than Ronaldo. Why have you gone very quiet?
I just don't care about that debate, that's why. He's not.
Pardon?
I'm just not fussed about that debate, so I don't bother.
No, but if you had to pick one, I'm putting you on the spot now. Really?
Yeah, I don't care about the debate.
Seriously. Look, there was a debate about Maradona and Pele, right? Who was the better of the two? Out of your generation, right? Messi and Ronaldo, out of your generation, you've grown up with these players.
Yeah.
Okay. Who for you then is the best player of your generation then?
I don't even think there has been one yet.
So let me get this straight. Now, I'm actually really interested in this. Actually, you've actually. This is very good. Actually, this is an interesting point. For you, there isn't no one individual in your generation that stands out for you. Stands out for you. So why don't you rate Messi or Ronaldo? What is it with them two that you don't rate?
It's not that I don't rate them. They're world-class talents and they're good in their own rights. But I just feel there's somebody who's going to be better than both of them coming along. Because it's like we can't compare them to anything, can we? It's like you could never compare Pele or Maradona. You can't compare Pele to Maradona. They were two separate times.
Okay, well, look, talent-wise, who's better, Maradona or Messi?
Maradona, talent-wise. If you're asking the question, like most of the time, like Messi actually cared for his body every time, and we just sort of like look at what Maradona did. He did a certain white powder all of the time, didn't he? And like he never cared about his body.
Oh, you mean he used too much talcum powder on his body?
Yeah, he did a bit too much share, but like, look, he didn't care about his body, and look what he produced.
Look, I did this once, right? And we did a debate a long while ago, Pele and Maradona, and I always say Maradona was the greatest player the world's ever seen because I grew up with Maradona, and for me, he was the closest thing I've ever seen apart from Georgie Best, who I never was alive to see, but the videos I've seen of George Best. And for me, he was the nearest thing to Maradona for me. Messi and Ronaldo, for me, wouldn't lace the boots of George Best or Maradona. But if I had to pick one out of them two, I would have to go with Messi. He's the nearest thing to Maradona that I've seen since Maradona stopped playing. I don't think Ronaldo is all this, you know. I've never rated Ronaldo. Never have, never will. I just feel Lionel Messi, he did everything he did at Barcelona. And then he never went to an easy league. Do you know what I mean? He could have, not like Ronaldo, he's now gone to the Saudi Pro League, right? Messi could have done that. Messi went to PSG. I want to now pit my best against the best that France has to offer. Okay, I know he's now playing in the MLS, but for me, I think Messi's probably the best player of your generation. But it's really surprising for me for you to say Maradona. So would you bet Maradona was the greatest player of all time then, in your view?
No.
So who's the greatest player for you of all time?
I don't think we've seen one. That's the thing. I feel there will be somebody out of this world what nobody could ever compete with. Well, let's be honest though. We can compare players all the time and stuff like that, but I feel
I understand
in like a decade or two, we'll see somebody better than every single one of them combined. Like look at Haaland. Nobody ever thought we'd get a goal scorer like him around past. Like let's be honest, he's a bit like he's essentially Kane, but better. Like no, but he's like almost the same level as Jimmy Greaves, or maybe if not better at certain things. Like that's the thing. You can't compare these players because they're just going to keep getting better and better. Like let's be honest. Like we've got Lamine Yamal now already breaking records, the first ever youngster at 17 to break 250 million euro value. Like that's what they're valuing him at.
I get it. You can't compete different eras, different ages. I understand that, and I do get that. But if you look through every decade or every generation of somebody, they would say that one player stood out above the best. And I cannot believe of you telling me that no one for you in your generation has stood up head and shoulders above the rest. Well, I could say to you, probably Michel Platini. Platini for France was probably one of the great players in my generation. Me as a grown up, Diego Maradona, Paolo Rossi, Socrates, Zico. Then you had Glenn Hoddle in Tottenham. Then you had probably Paul Gascoigne in the 80s. Do you feel, and I felt this, and managers as well, you could point back to managers, right? Like Alex Ferguson, Jock Stein, Brian Clough, Bob Paisley, Bill Shankly, Sir Matt Busby, Bill Nicholson. You can have a one or two hands, right? Greatest managers of all time. Do you feel your generation, things have changed on its head so much that you can only say one or two managers are the greatest managers of all time? And for you to say no player has actually stood out for you, does that mean, is that an indictment of the way football's gone? Or is it the way that players sort of shine too early and burn out by the time they get to their prime? Do you know what I'm getting at? Do you know?
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. It's like
is it easier to pick managers than it is to pick the greatest player? Is it easier to pick the greatest manager?
Yeah, of course.
Than it is the greatest player?
Yeah, of course. Let's be honest. There's probably like 5 best managers you can pick out there.
Yeah.
I can pick off 5 off the top of my head. Alex Ferguson, Pep, Johan Cruyff.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Klopp, and then there's another one, like, and then somebody else as well. Like, there's plenty of great managers you can pick off just straight away, and then Jose Mourinho, like 5 world-class managers. You can't. But the thing is, though, with players, like, there's that many players, you can't pick one exact one to be the best above the rest. Like, let's be honest, like, the only player, there's like this thing, the Super Ballon d'Or. One player can only earn it, like every generational talent, and nobody from my generational set of talents has earned it yet. It's the only one who has. I think it was the Italian, was it Paolo or something like that? He was the only player to ever win that. That shows you how hard it is to become like those sort of players. Like Messi and Ronaldo still haven't won that sort of thing, and yet they've won countless Ballon d'Ors.
So let me ask you this then: do you feel a bit? I don't know if jealous is the wrong word. It's the right word for it. Trying to think of the word here. Do you feel a little bit cheated that the players I had when I was growing up as a kid to the players you've seen growing up as a kid, do you look back at them and thinking, do you know, I wish I was around then? Because, look, you had Paolo Maldini, probably the greatest defender the world's ever seen. You had Diego Maradona. You had the likes of Glenn Hoddle. You had the likes of Gary Lineker up front, probably Rudi Völler, Jurgen Klinsmann. You had sort of early 80s Paolo Rossi. You had all these Rubinegger. You had Zico. You had Platini. Do you feel a little bit cheated that you weren't around in my generation, that you had so many great players then and so many idols to look up to, where will you say now that you don't have them to look up to?
No, I'm saying that I just don't see anyone at like those levels where you see other people yet, because I feel like we still have more to come from my generation. Like, let's be honest, we still have like the sort of talents where you have. We currently have players like Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Aguero, Lionel Messi, Ronaldo, Modric, Kroos, Alisson, Edison, Dubrick, Virgil van Dijk, John Terry, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard. We've had all of these great players over my generations and stuff like that, and we're still seeing more generational talents coming out now. Like, let's look at let's look now. We've got England's got two of probably the world's best talents come out of it.
Well, you look at you say
Cole
that
Palmer, Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. You look at Jude Bellingham and Cole Palmer. How far more can they go up? How many more levels do you think they will get up to?
I feel Palmer's got a higher ceiling than Bellingham.
Yeah, I think Bellingham's reached his ceiling, by the way.
I don't think I think Bellingham's still got room left to go. I just don't feel it's as much as what Palmer. I feel like Palmer will still climb over him.
Yeah, Palmer is. I can't, but
Palmer's a freak of nature. That's what he is.
A freak of nature. He
like
really
a
is.
perfect example is a perfect example of the Euros final. As soon as he came on, he scored that worldie. It wasn't even a free kick he scored it from.
Yeah, Harry Kane was another freak of nature.
Yeah, Dele Alli was a freak of nature. Yeah. Moussa Dembele was a freak of nature. Like, if Dele Alli never had his mental issues, and if Moussa Dembele never had his injury issues, those two, I think Spurs could have actually won a title if we had those players what didn't end up falling off.
Yeah.
So I feel like, if anything, we could have won something if our... And, like, let's look, I've also had Ericsson, I've also had Toby Alderweireld, Jan Vertonghen, Hugo Lloris,
Eric Cantona.
I've had with Cantona. No, Cantona was a bit before that. Was like Colm's time.
Really. Yeah, but I mean, you look at Cantona. You look at players like him, Mavericks.
Yeah.
That they're one of a kind.
Yeah, Cole Palmer, Bellingham, and stuff like that. And Mavericks. Yeah. You can't treat them as any other. You can't compare them to any other player, though, can you? With those type of players.
Can. But the likes of Eric Cantona, you had to treat him different to the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He was that sort of. Georgie Best was the same.
A perfect example for Spurs would be, I'd probably say, don't correct me if I'm wrong, but Gaza. You have to treat him completely different to how you would treat anybody else.
I mean, I said it last night. I mean, I said it before. Paul Gascoigne, for me, had the greatest talent in the world, and I always felt if he went to Man United, I always feel his life would have changed so much for the better than it did coming to Tottenham. That's nothing to do with Terry Venables, the way he managed him. It was Paul Gascoigne. He had the destructive part of his personality, which, you know, you can't help. He was a lovable rogue, if you know what I mean. But I always felt if he went to Man United under Sir Alex Ferguson, I think Paul Gascoigne would not have had the troubles he had that he later had in life.
Honestly, I feel he would have probably had a criminal record, even because probably if he went to United, because we've seen like how close certain players in United got to those sort of things, didn't we?
Yeah,
like it could
Yeah, I
have ended
suppose
up
so.
tipping the boat a bit too much, and I think
Yeah, I
Ferguson can
suppose so.
handle a lot of stuff, but I feel like if you had Gaza on top of like somebody like Cantona, I feel that would have probably rocked the boat a bit too much. If you think,
Yeah, maybe so. Big up to Ryan. I would not call it jealousy. He would call it envy. But yeah, envy's probably the right word, and just in my opinion. Big up to the perfect match. It's none of those managers for me, Sir Alex, all day long. Hi, Dermot. Big up, perfect match. I hope you're doing well. We've got Ryan. Yeah, still in Scotland. Weather is poor, and today my cat has had kittens. Oh, congrats. Bowen will be a big threat. Yeah, we are going to get into a bit of West Ham in a minute, guys. We're going to give you all the latest on that. We're going to go over the team as well. I've made one change, and I don't think Stig Jr. will be happy with my change. Milan team of the late 80s and early 90s, yeah, they were a proper side. That's when Italian football was good. Jose won the Porto.
yeah,
also
when the gangsters weren't getting caught out for corruption.
Yeah, right. We are back tomorrow, guys. Thank God for that. As we all say, the international break is over. Saturday the 19th at 2024, 12:30 at the mightiest stadium of them all, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the greatest stadium in the land. It's a proper stadium of Tottenham Hotspur, where Spurs take on their local East London rivals, West Ham. Do you know what? This is a bigger game for West Ham than it is for Tottenham, for some reason. Just don't know why West Ham hates so much. We have played 56 times in the Premier League. We've drawn 12. Tottenham have won 26 at home, 15 at home, 26 in total, 15 at home, 11 away. West Ham have won 18 in total, 12 at home, 6 away. The last sort of 5 injuries news tomorrow. The only injury news is Odegaard's out with the hamstring, but Sonny and Richie are in contention for a start in the squad. So
yeah,
that's
from what it
great
seems like,
see.
Wilson will be returning from what it seems like in November, but he is training with the first team again.
Yeah, he is training. This is my predicted lineup. I went through it today and I've made one change.
Yeah, I can tell.
Only because, and I'll give you the reason why. And I don't think you can agree with me, but anyway, I've gone for Carrier and goal. I've gone for Porro, Van de Ven, Rudu, and Destiny as a back 4. I've gone for a middle tree of Madison, Bentancur, and Gulu, and up front Boris Johnson. Why do I say it all the time? Brennan Johnson, 6 in 6, 7 in total if you include the goal he scored for Wales, including he was suspended, so it's still 6 in 6, equaled Harry Kane's record. Dom Solanke up front, and of course Captain Fantastic himself, the Sunny man, is back up front tomorrow. But I have dropped Romero. The only reason I put Rudu in for Romero is because he got back late from Argentina. What do you think of that lineup? Do you agree with it? Would you have made any changes yourself?
I'd change 2 of us. I'd keep Dragu because of course, as you just said, Romero returned a bit too late from international break, so we don't want to push him straight in. He might be able to come off as a sub. But the ones I'd change would be Bentancur and Son for Basuma and Richie.
Really? Why Son?
Honestly, I feel Son.
I can understand the first one. I can understand Basuma for Bentancur. I get that. But why would you drop Sonny for Richie?
I just feel like, honestly, it's a bit tough to say because you also have to remember, like, the right back of West Ham, they're always quite bulky. West Ham, they're always like a bulky side with back 4 and stuff like that. And you've also got to remember, Son, for some reason, he just hasn't seemed to be working. I don't know if it's just injuries or something like that, but I'd only start Son for like 45 minutes. So maybe I feel like I know what will probably happen. Son will start, but Richie will come on in like the 60th minute or something like that. That's more than likely what will happen, let's be honest, because for some reason he's too afraid to drop Madison or Son. He's too afraid. I don't know why. I would also change Madison as well for Bergvall. Yes,
well, he's got a knock, so we're not sure. Well, he's got a knock, hasn't he, Bergville? So
Yeah,
we were
but
not
he
really
said,
sure.
he said everybody should be ready for the West Ham game
Yeah.
tomorrow. So, but if he is fit, the only changes I'd make really, if I'm being realistic, would be Maddison and Bentancur for Bergville and Basuma.
So in that case, then, so you put Basuma in front of the back four. Do you put Kulu in that number 10 role and then Bergville in the number 8, or do you put Kulu in the number 8 and Bergville in the number 10?
Well, Kulu's more creative, so from what it seems like, but he's also quite bulky, so I'll probably put Kulu in like an attacking 8 and Bergville in the 10.
That's interesting. Let us know, guys, what you think in the comments as well. We've got Ryan here. He says, I would pay 200 million for Bowen. He's worth every penny. Would you agree? No.
I pay like 8. I pay 80 for him, yeah. Hands down, I pay 80 for him.
I don't think Bowen's all that, you know.
You say he's not, but he managed to score 30 GA and 44. He managed to get 30 GA in 44 games last season. So I feel like he is worth that.
I just never rated him. But 200 million? A lot of money. And Romero will play tomorrow. Well, look, the only reason why I dropped him was because he only came back Wednesday, and there's a tight time around between him coming back in the game at 12:30.
And we've also got to remember as well, we've got AZ next week anyway, then we've got Alkmaar next week, so he'll probably end up playing in that as well.
Yeah, we've got Palace and then we've got Man City the week after in the League Cup. So we've got a lot of big games coming up.
I'll probably see Dragusin starting that game then.
Yeah, I can see him starting the next 2. These are the last 5 games, of course, we played against West Ham. We've got 1-1 draw, of course, away with them last season in April. They beat us last season as well at the Lane 2-1. The season before, we beat them 2-0 at home, but we've got a 1-1 draw away. And, of course, before that, we beat them 3-1 at home. Tottenham now, the last 5 games, we've not been on, well, I don't know, 2 wins out the last 5. The biggest impressive one, of course, was the 3-0 win at home to Brentford. Then we backed that up with a good 3-0 win away to Man United. But we did lose 2 games before that against Newcastle and Arsenal. And then we threw away a 2-0 lead against Brighton. The less we say about that game, the better. Steve Jr., I don't want to talk about that game anymore. I'm sick of it. And then West Ham have only 1 win in the last 5. 2 draws and 2 defeats, but they did beat Ipswich 4-1. I think Spurs are the team in form, aren't they? In a funny sort of way, if you look at that.
If we don't count the Brighton game, yes.
Yeah, and we outplayed Brighton in that first half, by the way. Absolutely.
Yeah, we did, but I don't know. The one thing what annoys me is I said this in like our chat and stuff like that when I was watching it. I said we shouldn't have. Bentancur shouldn't have played for that long. We should have put Basuma on.
Yeah. I watched the documentary or not? I watched the podcast. I like watching different people do different podcasts, and it's one with Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes doing one now, and it's a really good podcast actually. I'm really enjoying it. And Rio Ferdinand was doing one, and he had what's the name of the player? Man United defender. His name will come to me. And he said something that I think was right. The Tottenham players went out in that second half against Brighton, and they thought in their head they had the game won. They didn't win their duels, their individual battles. And that when a player doesn't win his individual battles, I think the player's given up. They had it in their heads, we've won this game. And it's a very dangerous thing to have in your head, we don't have to try. And you know yourself, the Premier League will beat you into the ground if you give any team in the Premier League a sniff. You know that as well as I do. So, do you think the players owe us a performance tomorrow? And even though it is against West Ham, there's an extra pressure because it's a London derby. The players really do owe us one tomorrow, don't they?
It's not so much that Dito was, but the fact is Dito and the training staff is showing.
And the fans
considering,
won.
I'll probably say more the training staff and Ange, really, because of how poor they performed. Like, let's be honest, Ange wasn't even able to get all of his anger out on them, was he? Because straight after the Brighton match, a lot of them were on the plane off to represent their own countries, weren't they?
Yeah, well, Ryan does say that, and we'll go back to this, but he does say this, and he actually basically told me, what do you think of Ange's comments in midweek? And I had nothing wrong with what he had to say midweek. I think he would have gone apeshit at them players at full time. But I think I don't know. I think there's a tight line, isn't there, Boris, of roasting the player or being angry at them and roasting them and bollocking them, or there's a way of having a go at them but also putting an arm around them. So do you get what I mean? There's a balancing act, isn't there?
I felt the only three players what shouldn't have really got the bollocking were like our front three, in that being Werner, Solanke, and Johnson. Those were the three what did their best, really. Like I'd probably say out of the three, Timo probably did the best. If either of those two ended up getting on the end of his crosses, that game would have ended up 6-3. But they were just too slow to getting into those crosses. Because let's be honest, those crosses, if somebody got on the end of them, that would have been like 3 more goals for us.
But, I agree. I have no problem. And I think you saw the same comments. Do you agree with me and Ryan that, do you agree with me, you have no problem with what Ange said during the week? Because I think it was right in what he said.
I haven't really watched it, but I've just been very busy. So do you mind giving me a roundup of what he said?
Basically, he said he wanted to explode.
Yeah, of course. He wouldn't, considering we went from 2-0. Oh, yeah, now I remember. I saw something on Twitter about it, saying he wanted to explode and stuff like that. And he said something like we wanted to explode. Yeah, of course. He has every right to, considering the fact that we were literally 2-0 up and then we ended up bottling it within like the first 2-3 minutes of the second half.
Do you know what? It's the first watch along I've missed, I think, since in 35 games I've missed the watch along.
Well, you've missed a couple more, but that's because of personal reasons and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I'm so glad I missed this one.
Oh yeah, I think we all were. This I would have literally just lost my mind.
My blood pressure would have gone through the bloody roof. Do you know what I mean?
It almost. Trust me, it made me almost as mad as the Coventry game.
Oh Jesus! And you were mad with that one.
Yeah, you could hear me.
You and me will be covering the game tomorrow. Should be fun.
Yeah, it should be.
It should be. Simply, the players should be putting 100% effort in every game. That's what they are. Is exactly. And Ryan says, no, I think he should find them all a week's wages. But do you know what?
He might have done. We don't know,
He might have done. Do you know Fergie used to do that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, though. Like, there's fine structures in every club. Like, if they're late to training, if they don't attend training, stuff like that. Like, let's be honest, I think Basuma was probably fined like 2 weeks' wages for what happened with him. Let's be honest. And Basuma's on what, like 70, 80 grand a week? Like, I think he's in the hundreds.
Yeah, and we're still waiting for Bentancur's ban to come in, wherever that's going to come in too. So
I honestly, that's the real thing. I think that's what Angie's concerned about, why he's playing Bentancur more, so he's at least got some fitness before he ends up getting the ban implemented.
Now, this is the season so far, because Tottenham in 9th, 3 wins, 1 draw, 3 defeats, 2 average goals scored per match, 1.4 average goals conceded per match, 2 clean sheets, 2.43 chances created per match. Biggest win, of course, the 4-0 against Everton. Worst defeat, 3-2 against Brighton. West Ham, 12th in the league. 2 wins, 2 draws, 3 defeats. It before tomorrow when we smash them. Average goals scored per match, 1.43. Average goals conceded per match, 1.57. Clean sheets, 1. Chances created per match, 1.57. Biggest win was a 4-1 against Ipswich. Biggest defeat was 3-0 against Chelsea. And these are the top player stats, guys. Brendan Johnson with 3 goals. He's the top of the He's the top of the list between Tottenham and West Ham players. Bowman with 2 assists this season and 22 tackles. Destiny at the top of the tree on that. And of course, if you want to watch the game, it is not on Sky Sports tomorrow, because I actually thought it was. And then I realized after I'd done this, it wasn't. So it's on TNT tomorrow at 12:30. It's on Peacock TV. Pardon?
Oh, that's going to be fun for me.
Why is that?
TNT.
I'll sort you out. I sort you out. It's on Peacock TV and it's also on Fubo. But you see, you've got our VPN, so you can watch the game anywhere you like.
Yeah, of course. Maybe I'm in North Korea right now and I might just watch it. I'm at the North Korean Benidorm. I'm just relaxing by the pool.
Some say.
Not some say, I say I am.
Some say it could be a North Korean spy. Anyway, anyway, he's not the Stig Jr. He's the North Korean kid. He's the North Korean Stig's cousin. Anyway, Ryan says, I'm not Ange out. I'm Ange, don't care. I'm not Ange out. I'm Ange, don't care about him now. Only supporting the team. Well, I'm Ange in. Always have been, always will be. But everyone is entitled to their opinion. Well, Stig, that brings the end to another brilliant Cockeral Clock podcast. We've gone through a lot of subjects. Of course, tomorrow we're on at 12 with Tottenham TIC-TOC. It is a members-only show, guys. So do pick up your memberships if you want to watch it. We're going to try to do this live member show for you guys. We've got the watch along live from 12:20, and then 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, we're doing post-match live, where you, the members, get to come on and have you say. Only members can come on and have you say as we look back at the London derby. Stig Jr., a.k.a. Boris, where can people find you, sir?
Well, you can find me on this great channel most of the time, but you can also find me on Twitter or X, or whichever you want to call it. So I just call it the cesspit, at Boris the Spurs with a capital B. And for me, the result, I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory over West Ham.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going for 3-0. Simply Ace is going to Tottenham 3-2. Sonny in stoppage time winner after we blow a 2-0 lead. Oh, please, no. Please, God, no. Not another one. Anyway, on that bombshell, we'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Whatever you do, come on, you Spurs, and big Ant we trust. Go on, send us out with your famous line.
Goodbye and go cry.
Fair enough. Go on, you Spurs.